Hello everyone, and I am back. Now we're doing Seeds of Doom since I officially have finished the story, and it's actually one of the stories that I've been watching for this video. That's why it took such a long time to make it. It's because I've been trying to watch it and watch it, because I only started watching it like a month ago, I think, and there's a lot of times where I wasn't sure if I was able to watch it, so if I was given free time, I would watch it, and I just finished all of it yesterday, so now I can make this video and give my thoughts on it. So without further ado, let's start the review. Start the intro. The Seeds of Doom, basically. The Seeds of Doom is a story where basically there's an alien pod that gets blown into Earth or gets discovered in the Antarctica, in the Arctic. Some people find it and take the alien pod to investigate and experiment on it, but mostly to know what it is. And that's exactly where we find the doctor and Sarah just being there with the scientists, and then the doctor realizes what kind of pod that is and what it could do. So basically, he forbids the scientists to use it. But then, before the doctor and Sarah even arrive, one scientist accidentally touched the wire that comes out of the pod, and now they're infected. So now the one scientists are getting really infected and really fast, and they start getting all green and all like a vegetable. So afterwards, when he rests, the scientist goes insane, and the pod, the alien stuff starts taking over his mind, and he starts sabotaging a lot of the stuff. So, and then this guy named Chase, who's a boss, sends in two people for him to get the pod for himself, because Chase is an evil guy, and this Chase guy wants to use the pod for experiments, and also because he wants to release the alien, the crinoids. So these two people, secretly they're trying to act like good guys, but they really just want to get the pod for the boss, because money, because he has a lot of money. So that's why they're gonna try taking the pod away from Sarah and the doctor. Meanwhile, the doctor and the other scientist and Sarah are investigating how this pod came to be and how the scientist came to touch it. So they figured out everything and what it is, and it's a crinoid, a pod planet alien that if it touches you, it turns you into a green vegetative monster, and it grows bigger and bigger until it consumes the entire planet. So that's what a crinoid is. And so until the scientist has been infected, turns completely green, the doctor has no choice and then after this, the alien starts attacking the other scientist, and then the other scientist dies because the other guy who was infected chokes him to death. Like literally chokes him to death. And so meanwhile, the other two criminals who are working for Chase, the boss, steal the pod and get away. And then so the aliens can really big and really monstrous and gigantic and everything. So the doctor and Sarah have no choice but to leave the Arctic and blow up the base. So at the end of part 2, they do that very much. They blow up the whole base in the Arctic, and they get away. Although I'm pretty sure the doctor and Sarah didn't have enough time to get away. I mean, they're barely alive when part 3 starts. So the criminals who got the pod for Chase now Chase has the pod, and he has it at his mansion. So the doctor and Sarah, part 3 is all about the doctor and Sarah trying to go back to, going from the Arctic to London to get the pod from Chase. That's all what part 3 is all about. And basically it's all like traveling and stuff, and eventually they reach to Chase's mansion where they have the pod, being as a hostage or something like that. So Chase really wants to use the alien pod, for experimentation, because he's Chase, and also he's crazy. So his minions, they tell Chase about the doctor and everything, and so they just stay aware. And then the doctor and Sarah Jane, they sneak around the mansion, and then Sarah accidentally gets caught, and then they decide they're gonna use Sarah Jane for the experiment, and that almost happens. I mean, they get away a lot, but then Sarah gets kidnapped and is used for experiment, and that's when part 4 starts, when the doctor literally like is on a glass window roof, and he goes through the roof and breaks the entire glass and goes to save Sarah, like in a blink of an eye. He's that fast. And honestly, I've never seen the doctor this fast. I mean, the doctor in the story is quite different, actually. I mean, he almost chokes a guy to death, he uses a gun, and then he goes through glass to save his companion. I feel like this is more like a James Bond episode, honestly. There's so much action and so much, action. I mean, violence and wackiness. Anyway, after that happens, Sarah and the doctor get away, and they find out who. And then the doctor, one of the doctors that Chase hired, Mr. Keeler, gets infected accidentally. So now he's turning green, and Chase is like, this is like first time like seeing the crinoids, and he's like amazed, basically. So he's that crazy. So basically what he's gonna do with Mr. Keeler, who's already infected, he's gonna strap him to a bed and just watch and learn. So he just does that. Mr. Keeler is going insane by the minute, so he's just gonna be strapped to the bed. And then you do the mistake of feeding Mr. Keeler food, because as the doctors tell them, if you feed them food, they get bigger. And that's the reason why it didn't happen with the Arctic monster that exploded to death. So basically, it's now getting bigger, and the doctor and Sarah are just really worried. So the monster actually escaped the bed, and which was strapped. So they escaped it, and now the monster's on the loose. So an agent of like the doctors, or a friend of the doctor and Sarah, finds out what's going on. So then he gets the urge to call UNIT, but they're not really sure about it yet. Not yet, because they don't really believe what's going on, because the cliche where they don't believe anything. So then the doctor and Sarah Jane find out that the monster is missing, and then they go looking for it. And then the one of the friends of the doctor and Sarah accidentally die. Dunbar, basically, that's what his name is, but I forgot about it. So he just dies because the crinoid is so strong that it just kills him. But then the doctor and Sarah Jane run into him and into the monster, and then it almost kills them. But they run away. They manage to run away. And also Chase runs into the monster too. They all run into the monster at the same time, but only the doctor and Chase and his friends leave and escape alive. So now all of them realize that the monster is growing faster and even more crazy. But Chase is like, I'm gonna use this for experiment, and I want to see how this is going on, because the plants are my friends. And the doctor and Sarah Jane are basically like, we need to destroy that monster with whatever we got. So basically, what they do later, I don't remember. I mean, after that was part 5. So part 5. So after that, they try to get into the mansion, and then they get stuck, including with the Chase's minions. So now they have to work together to get out of the mansion, because now the crinoid has gone so big, it's invading the entire house and electricity. So now nothing can work, and they can't call anyone. But meanwhile, with the friends of the doctor, now they've called UNIT, and sadly the Brigadier wasn't there. I mean, sure, they couldn't have gotten Nicholas Courtney or something like that, but just getting UNIT is kind of nice though, whenever it gets referenced. So UNIT finally arrives. Actually, they don't arrive until part 6, so we're not there yet. So they're still stuck in the house with all the crinoid limbs and plants everywhere, invading the whole house, growing even bigger, and they're all stuck inside. So now they all start growing worrisome, and now they have to trust each other. Chase is like in the other side of the mansion where he's still going insane, And now they've actually built a machine which is that can kill you. It's like a machine that just kills you. It's like a killer machine, and Chase just made it so it can rip your limbs and everything. So they made that. Meanwhile, Doctor and Sarah Jane now explore the other sides of the mansion, which is still stable. Then they get to Chase, and Chase's room is like covered in plants and everything and fungi. So now he's kind of going insane, and I think, and as the doctor says, he thinks he's being possessed by the plants or the Krynoids. And I do believe it, and yeah, he's probably being possessed by the plants. So now Chase is no longer Chase, he's just a Krynoid possessed person. So now he's just talking crazy and, you know, being a loyal friend to the Krynoids, because I feel like the Krynoids are that strong. And also, by the way, if you don't know, Krynoids can actually talk. Yeah, they said a bunch of things when they were talking to the doctor. So they're talking, and then what basically what the Krynoids said is, if the doctor stays, all of you guys can escape alive. And the doctor thought it was a trap, so he didn't do it. Meanwhile, all Chase's minions try to escape the mansion because they're that arrogant and going really insane. So, but that doesn't succeed, and they all die, and they get drowned by plants dragging them and stuff. And that's, you know, it's kind of crazy. I mean, I thought this episode was pretty unique, and it is. There's like a lot of plants, and you realize how big the Krynoid is at this point. They show like a huge image of this huge monster invading the whole mansion. So now Yuna has finally arrived, and basically what they're gonna do is they're gonna send 3 planes to blow the entire house up. But the doctor's still in there with Sarah, and they're still in there and trying to escape. Chase at that point tries to kill the doctor with the killer machine, but then Sarah Jane tries to rescue him, and Chase now gets stuck in the machine, and then he dies. So that's the last time we saw Chase. So now it's just the doctor and Sarah Jane trying to escape. And basically, they use steam to escape the mansion because the plants were everywhere. So they used steam to escape, and at the nick of time, the whole house was blown up, and the doctor and Sarah Jane escaped safely. So now they are away from the mansion. The mansion's just gone. It's all blown up, including the Krynoid, and we get this really cool explosion effect. So yeah, that's how the episode starts. I mean, how it ends. So at the end of the episode, after all that chaos, the doctor and Sarah just decided to go to a beach, but they accidentally go to the same base, Arctic place where it all started, and then they just laugh about it. So yeah, that's Seeds of Doom, and that's the whole summary of the story. And you can tell I remember a lot of it because I recently saw it, just like Planet of Evil, which I did 2 months ago. Don't worry, I'll do more reviews more recent, because I'm not gonna do more reviews where I watched them recently. I'm gonna do more like I've seen already. So like next week it's gonna be Shoutout. Shoutout's gonna be next week. Let's talk about the overall episode. This episode was pretty interesting. It was pretty good. I feel like the first 2 parts in the Arctic was kind of boring. I mean, yeah, it was pretty crazy that a monster was just mutating. And also, by the way, out of all the transformation movies or episode shows that I've seen, I'm pretty sure the Krynoids are the aliens that have the fastest transformation. Like other big monster stories, like movies, like like that, like transformation movies with a bunch of aliens or a bunch of monsters. I have to say the Krynoid transformation process are way faster than any monster. I mean, it was so fast at that point where. And also, I didn't know there was 2 people that transformed into a Krynoid. I thought it was like 1 person through the entire episode transforming into a Krynoid. But it seems like it's 2 people. And by the way, I'm pretty sure now, yeah, Seeds of Doom is 6 parts, and I feel like it's a separate episode because 2 parts take place in the Arctic and the other take place in London. But yeah, it's still connected. Like, I mean, it still counts because they're all facing the same threat. With a pod, but you can easily say, like, you could just separate these episodes, like, if you just had a few episodes in between, but that's fine, since it was serialized anyway. Anyway, when I heard Yuna was in this episode, I was like, Yuna's in this episode? So I didn't know Yuna was gonna be involved at all. That was a big surprise for me. Although I was pretty disappointed, and it makes a lot of sense because I thought the Brigadier was gonna be in this episode, but I guess he wasn't. So yeah, this episode's a bit different. It's like a James Bond episode. It kind of reminds me of like the John Pertwee episodes, where there's a lot of action, a lot of violence, and a lot of, wackiness. This kind of reflects that a lot, with a lot of action. I mean, there's like criminals, thugs, monsters. It really fits a James Bond movie or episode. So, is that it? I feel like I talked about everything, I guess, right? I mean, this episode is definitely unique. I mean, it's good, but I feel like if it just stick to 4 parts, like I feel like the part of in the Arctic, I feel like it was necessary so they know where they got the pod, because it reminds me of the movie Thing, and where they get a weird alien that kills you kind of thing, like an idea. It kind of reminds me of that, like that movie. So it gives me vibes. I just feel like they should have just cut the 4 parts. If they were not gonna do it in the Arctic, I feel like they should have made it shorter. I mean, yeah, the pace was pretty good. It was even. It wasn't slow. I feel like it was even. I'm starting to understand how it all works, but that doesn't matter. So yeah, this episode was pretty unique. I loved all the action, and what the Doctor did in this episode was so crazy. Like, you will never see the Doctor do these things in nowadays, like choke a person to death. I already mentioned it. So, in reflection, I have to say this episode is pretty good. It's a little bit mediocre, but it's what I expected. It's a transformation monster movie, and it delivers that. I did had a few questions. Like, I feel like the minions went too insane. I mean, you could have just held it in. That's just called quarantine. You can't go that crazy being in quarantine. Like, just look at us, guys. We're just in quarantine like everyone else. So I feel like people being stuck in a house for like just a few minutes is not that crazy. So I'm gonna give the rating like a 9 out of 10. Yeah, 9 out of 10 works. Anyway, this is Seeds of Doom, and this is my review of Doctor Who season 14 or 13. Yeah, it's 13, and that's my review. See you guys later, and this is Doctor Who and the Seeds of Doom. This is Hugo Maverick, and I'm also signing off. See you guys. I'll make more videos later.